Higher order functions are functions which take other functions as parameters, and we've already used some of them. For example, here we used count, which is actually a function which takes a function predicate. So now we're going to construct our own higher order function. We'll take a look at how this is actually done by calculating the maximum of a bunch of numbers by providing a comparison predicate. So let me give you a demo of how this actually looks like. So let's have a function with a type parameter t, which actually calculates the maximum of a bunch of elements in some collection. So we'll have a collection as a collection of t type. And in addition, what we're going to do is we're going to take a predicate called less, which does a comparison operation on two different types. And those two types can be numeric, but they can also be strings or whatever you define it for, essentially. So here, the actual type of the argument for the predicate is a function. So the type is not just a value or a collection, it's a function. Now this function is going to take two arguments of type t that is going to compare, and the result of comparison is a Boolean value. Boolean. So this is how you define the argument if you are indeed taking a function. So let's actually give this one a definition. It's actually going to be null safe as well. So we'll define a maximum value as a nullable of t with the initial value of null, and then we'll iterate through all the elements through every x in the collection, and we're going to say that if the maximum is null, or here we use the predicate, so here we use the actual less function that somebody provides us. It takes two arguments, which would be the current maximum as well as the value we're being evaluated. And if this condition holds, then we update the maximum. So we say maximum is equal to x, and then we simply return the maximum here. So now that we have this function, which happens to take a lambda, or indeed some function, what we can do, let's just add the return type here. What we can do is we can actually start using it. So one of the ways of using it is like this. So for example, we can define a bunch of values. So I'm going to have, well, we already have the value, so I'll just say var max value equals the maximum of our numbers. Luckily, our numbers are in a list, so they already implement collection of t. So these numbers, and we define the predicate. So once again, simply add the curly braces, and here we have two arguments, so we cannot use the it literal. Instead, we just use x and y, and we say that the predicate is x less than y. Just like that, and this gives us our maximum value, and then we can sort of print line just that. Let's just print the max value here. All right, let's run this. And as you can see, the maximum of these values happens to be 7.